Welcome to the HIP Senior Podcast featuring Senior Success Advocate. I'm Marianne Bailey. Today, we're diving into an important topic that affects employees, businesses, and, honestly, society as a whole: ageism in the workplace. If you've never thought much about it, don't worry. By the end of this episode, you'll not only know what it is, but you'll also have a solid idea of how to tackle it head-on in your organization. Consider this your crash course in Ageism 101. And don't worry, there won't be a pop quiz. Now, let's be real. When we hear ageism, most of us picture some big, blatant moment of discrimination, like someone saying, "You're too old for this job." But most of the time, ageism is a lot more subtle. It's hidden in the assumptions we make, the systems we've built, or the things we say without thinking. And here's the kicker. Ageism isn't just bad for the people experiencing it, it's bad for business. Think about it. When you don't value employees of all ages, you're losing out on the unique perspectives and skills they bring to the table. You're also likely creating a workplace culture where people feel undervalued and disengaged. And let's face it, nobody does their best work when they're constantly feeling like they're being pushed aside for the new shiny object, aka the younger hire. It's like running a restaurant and only using salt because pepper is, well, vintage. Your dish and your business will taste pretty bland. So today, we're going to talk about what ageism looks like, how to recognize it, and most importantly, what to do if you realize it's happening in your workplace. Along the way, I'll throw in a little humor because, hey, this topic can feel heavy, and we're all here to learn, not to cry into our coffee mugs. Let's start by looking at what ageism actually looks like. Sometimes it's obvious, like when job postings say things like, "looking for a recent graduate," or "must bring youthful energy to the role." Translation: we want someone young, but more often it's subtle. It's the casual jokes, the assumptions, or the way opportunities are handed out. For example, have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, they're stuck in their ways" about a senior employee? Or maybe something like, "Let's bring in some fresh talent to shake things up." If I had $1 for every time someone told me they were stuck in their ways, I'd have enough to buy a small island, or at least a very nice coffee. These might seem harmless, but over time they create a narrative. They say you don't belong here, or your value is less because of your age. And the more that message gets repeated, even subtly, the more it becomes part of the workplace culture. Here's the thing, ageism doesn't just hurt the employees experiencing it. It hurts the entire team, the company, and even the bottom line. Let me tell you why. Older employees bring something to the table that younger employees just haven't had time to develop yet. Experience. That's not to say younger employees don't bring value. They absolutely do. But when you pair the strategic thinking and deep knowledge of senior employees with the energy and fresh perspectives of younger team members, you create a balance that's incredibly powerful. Think of it like cooking. If you only use one spice, your dish is going to taste pretty flat. But when you mix flavors, sweet, salty, spicy, you get something that stands out. That's what age diversity does for a workplace. So how do you know if ageism is happening in your organization? Let's break it down. First, look at your workforce demographics. Do you have a good mix of ages across all levels of the company, or are older employees stuck in lower-level roles? If your leadership team looks like a college reunion and your entry-level team looks like it's about to celebrate its 40-year work anniversary, you've got some investigating to do. Next, pay attention to exit interviews. When older employees leave, are they saying things like, "I just didn't feel like there was a future for me here"? That's often code for, "I didn't feel valued, but I'm too polite to say it out loud." Performance reviews can also give you some clues. Are senior employees being judged by the same criteria as younger ones? Or are they penalized for not picking up new software as quickly, even though they're crushing it in other areas like strategy or mentorship? And don't underestimate the power of language. If your workplace is full of phrases like, "we need fresh ideas," or "let's bring in young talent," those messages add up. Even jokes about age can chip away at inclusivity. Remember, what might seem funny to one person might feel dismissive to another. Let's be honest, nobody really likes being called seasoned unless we're talking about a perfectly grilled steak. Finally, take a look at your policies. Do they support a multi-generational workforce? Are there flexible work options or phased retirement plans? Or are your benefits designed mainly with younger employees in mind? Recognizing these trends is the first step, but awareness alone won't solve the problem. That's where action comes in. One of the easiest ways to start addressing ageism is by updating your hiring practices. Take another look at those job descriptions. Are you asking for things that aren't actually necessary for the role, like being a digital native? Focus on the skills and experience that matter, not the assumptions you're making about what a good fit looks like. Got job ads that say must be a digital native? Yeah, it's time to press backspace on those. Another great strategy is to use blind resume reviews. Remove indicators of age, like graduation dates, during the initial screening process. This helps you focus on qualifications without letting unconscious bias creep in. Once you've hired someone, how you onboard them matters too. Make sure your training programs and resources are accessible and relevant to employees of all ages. And don't just assume that older employees won't want to participate in training. Plenty of people over 50 are out there learning new languages, picking up hobbies, and mastering technology every day. Trust me, they can handle a work-related course. Just because someone remembers dial-up internet doesn't mean they can't handle your new software. Mentorship programs are another way to bridge the gap. Pair senior employees with younger ones so they can learn from each other. This isn't about the old teaching the young or vice versa. It's about mutual respect and growth. Building an inclusive culture takes work, but it's worth it. Celebrate the contributions of senior employees, and not just when they retire. Include them in decision-making processes and highlight their achievements. Tackling unconscious bias is also key. Offer regular training sessions to help employees recognize and address the assumptions they might not even realize they're making. And make sure there's a way for people to report concerns anonymously so they feel safe speaking up. Flexibility is another game changer. Offering options like part-time roles, remote work, or phased retirement lets older employees stay engaged while meeting their personal needs. And honestly, who wouldn't love a little more flexibility in their work schedule? Finally, review your benefits. Are they meeting the needs of all employees, not just the younger ones? Things like robust healthcare options, retirement planning resources, and even wellness programs can go a long way in showing your commitment to inclusivity. Creating an age-inclusive workplace isn't something you do once and then forget about. It's an ongoing process. Check in regularly, listen to feedback, and celebrate your progress. By embracing age diversity, you're not just creating a better workplace, you're creating a stronger business. Thank you for joining me today on the HIP Senior Podcast, featuring Senior Success Advocate. If you found this helpful, share it with someone who might benefit, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. I'm Marianne Bailey. Stay hip, and I'll see you next time.